we'd highlight in particular markets like China. Incrementally, both Korea and Japan are also very interesting. It's primarily a very North Asia biased conversation for us because we see more sustainable market reopening, more sustainable economic reopening in a lot of the North Asian economies. We would add to that list Australia, but as we've said, that cyclical rotation trade has already started to play out in that market.
And that's very interesting, James. Good morning. Tanveer also joining in this discussion. I'm looking at your notes and you're talking about basically the classification of North Asia plus Australia as one cluster and South Asia plus India, that bifurcation based on sustainable reopening versus the performance in their PMIs, the services PMIs and manufacturing PMIs in those respective economies. And so what are your observations with regarding to how the second cluster is performing right now, India and South Asia?
So thank you very much for that. There's two linked concepts that underlie the answer to that question. Number one, at JPMorgan, we've developed something called a sustainable reopening index. So our reopening index, again, tracks over 250 data sets to try to take a view as to reality on the ground. We then adjust that to try to understand the impact that increased mobility, the impact of increased market opening is having on incremental infection and morbidity rates to try to understand how sustainable that move is. One of the reasons why we're cautious from a South Asia, so ASEAN plus India perspective, is it appears as though there is a clear inverse relationship between a country's income inequality as well as high levels of government debt as a percent of GDP and the sustainability of market reopening. Effectively, what that suggests is that countries with very high levels of income inequality and a lack of ability to push significant fiscal stimulus to really bridge the gap and ease the pain of economic shutdowns are opening their economies faster than what would be warranted purely on the back of the underlying infection statistics. So in effect, they put the sustainability of that opening to some degree of risk. And so again, we see far more sustainable conversations occurring in China, Korea, Japan, Australia, and those conversations are far more difficult from a South Asia plus India perspective.